Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the June 6th edition of the Tucson Mortgage Weekly. I'm Todd Abelson, and I appreciate you tuning in. Today, June 6th, is the anniversary of D-Day, and you, from your history books, may recall that that was the invasion of Europe in World War II. My wife and I had the pleasure, so to speak, of visiting the Normandy beaches several years ago on our trip to France. And I got to tell you, although there's very little that remains today, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out what went on there in 1944 and the thousands and thousands of dead Allied force soldiers that literally strewn the beach. We owe a lot to that generation. As Tom Hanks says, they clearly are the greatest generation. So just spend 1 minute today thinking about that and thanking the people that made sacrifices so that we can enjoy what we have today. That said, let's talk about what's going on in the mortgage market. Okay, first of all, last week what happened? Well, I think the key for the week, as you'll see in the attached newsletter, is volatility. First of all, Germany announced early in the week that they were going to bail out Greece. Then what ended up happening is the next day the Case-Shilling report came out and basically said that real estate prices and sales are still anemic, and we're going to continue to see some downturn before it gets better. So we've not yet hit the bottom. Some markets, yes, but overall there's still some downside in the market. A lot of continuing job, sky is falling type reports, and then finally the sky kind of sort of did fall a little bit. The employment report came out at 54,000 jobs, and they were anticipating 185,000 jobs. The good news was the number was still positive. The bad news was it was way, 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 way off the mark, and it was hugely lower than they expected. And so what ended up happening is that rates ended up moving up earlier in the week and then came back down and more later in the week as a result of the jobs report. And we'll talk about that a little more in a second, but let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on. First of all, today, there are no economic reports coming out today, so we're going to continue to see the market get drug around by what's happening on moment-to-moment news. This week, the Feds are auctioning off $66 billion in bonds, in debt, so to speak. So ultimately, we'll have to see how that's received in the market. Now, what are the keys that we're looking for going forward? There's really two very important facts we have to consider. First, back to the jobs report. It was such a horrible report, and rates were still not able to break below the levels that we had kind of touched on and seen, which means that's it. There's a really stiff floor there of rates, a ceiling of resistance, so to speak, on prices. And so that's not very good for rates. We're not going to see lower rates than we have. It's going to take something hugely miserable and world horrible events, terrorists or who knows what the heck going on to make things rates get any lower. Second of all, remember the quantitative easing, or QE2, ends this month in June. And although the Feds are not going to be selling anything off, they're not buying anything, which means the market's going to be completely wide open for normal type buyers. And we kind of haven't seen that for 2 years now. So ultimately, we're going to have to see how the market actually takes that in and what we're going to have. But we could see rates push up between both of these events. So ultimately, keep your eyes open for what's going on in the market. Check out the attached newsletter. Don't forget to check out the blog site, TucsonMortgages.com. I'm Todd Abelson, and make it a great week. Bye-bye.